Hey everybody. I've um, I've not stopped laughing in the last 24 hours. Um, it's almost otherworldly. What's going on? What's been happening? Pretty much every channel on YouTube or news stream is about Zelenskyy meeting in the White House. I mean, where do you start? I've put in a description, snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. I think that's pretty accurate. As I said in the live stream, I think my thoughts regarding the whole rare earth minerals deal was a little bit covert. It wasn't necessarily what it looked like. And I think that was the frustration in the White House yesterday with Zelenskyy just banging his gums together. It's like, I think Trump's utter frustration and, I think he just wanted to say to him, you need to be shutting up. And he did that in a roundabout way, but I think it was just pure and utter frustration. It's like, how can I possibly strike any kind of deal with this idiot? He's swearing in Russian in the White House. A lot of people have probably picked up on that as well. It's just carnage. It's just absolute carnage. That's what I've titled this live. I'm not going to be on long. I'm sitting in the sauna at the moment. Just looking out the window, nice blue skies, watching the snow melt, finally. Looking forward to spring. Yeah, I mean, where do you start? Like I say, it's almost comical, isn't it? Almost comical. You've just got to let him talk, haven't you, Zelenskyy? Just every time he opens his mouth, he gets better. It absolutely gets better. Talk about self-destruction. No, that's not good, that side. Better this side. Do you want to look at me or do you want to look out the window? Who knows? Liam, hi, hello. Yeah. Like I say, I'm still grinning. I'm still trying to absorb it all. I've watched it over. JD Vance is absolutely mortified. You can tell he's just looking at him and just going, what are you doing, you absolute fool? And they just run out of patience. They just lost it. His whole purpose for going to the US was to sign this minerals deal. Trump had advertised that, what a great deal it's going to be, and obviously they were looking forward to, further prospects from that. And the whole thing's done. Now, whether it'll get revived or not, who knows? Maybe somebody will beat Zelenskyy over the head and tell him, you need to be literally getting on your hands and knees and begging for forgiveness. Who knows? But for the moment, absolute carnage. Goes there to sign a deal. The deal doesn't get signed. They're supposed to have a, nice lunch, cancelled, and he gets told to leave the White House. You couldn't write it. You really couldn't. Absolutely staggering. And the whole week has just been, I'm just looking at these people and thinking, these are leaders of countries. Macron, Starmer, and, the little green goblin next door. These are supposed to be leaders of countries. This is the best? This is the best that these countries have got to offer? Really? Oh, wow. I mean, it's just hilarious. It really is that these Muppets think that they can they couldn't organise, as we say in the UK, they couldn't organise a piss up in a brewery. That's about how it is. So what they think they're going to do on the battlefield is beyond me. Literally beyond me. You know, Starmer and Macron thinking that they're going to make some kind of, thought we'll do it without the US. Really? You can't do it with the US, so what are you going to do without them? And then Starmer's sitting there with Trump and openly admits that they have the UK, the British government, has gifted, get this, gifted UK taxpayers' money to Ukraine. Gifted. There's no, and they've never said that. They've always said all along that it's a partnership and it's going to, they've all used a lot of word salad, but he sat there with Trump and openly admitted that the UK government has gifted billions of UK taxpayers' money to Ukraine with nothing in return. And, Trump, as you can see, knows that that's what his previous administration did, and he's absolutely desperate to claw that money back, and this is what all of this deal was about, to try and get the money back, but also to get US foot, well and truly in Ukraine. And they've just managed to burn the whole lot down. It's just absolutely, you couldn't write it. Macron and Starmer, between him and Zelenskyy, it was all a coordinated plan. Macron will go there and, schmooze Trump, basically wear him down with fucking French waffle, wasn't it, really? He was just going to go there and go gab, 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 gab for hours until Trump just went, oh, God, yeah, anything, you can have whatever you want. And then Starmer was going to go there and close the deal, and then Zelenskyy was going to go there. I'm sorry, I just can't help laughing. And these are the people that are running these countries. So now you've got Starmer and Macron back, and they're in full attack mode against the US. So rather than realising that they are literally dead in the water without the US and shutting their mouths, making some public apologies, and trying to pull the US back together, they're just there going, rah, 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 US, no, we'll do without them and everything. And the US is literally on the verge of going, crack on then, off you go. He's basically told that to Zelenskyy, isn't he? Where he's, we've been fighting on our own. Pardon? You haven't been on your own? What are you on about? You're gonna be. It's what a week. What a week. Anyhow, like I say, I thought I'd just come and sit in the sauna for a bit. To chill out. To cool down. Eric, why Americans leave Europe fighting the Russian alone? Are we all brothers? Oh dear. Sean, hi Chris, good jolly day to you, mate. On the subject, Starmer was absolutely, it's just Sean, wasn't it? It was just, and what I am absolutely staggered about is, I'm going to say allegedly, but he's allegedly a High Court barrister, or I think anybody with a brain would run rings round the muppet. And you often find this. I certainly have in my life, people that are academic, great on paper, A+ on everything, have zero common sense. And as I always say, you know what they say about common sense, it ain't that common. But they have zero common sense, and they have no real world understanding. They just are so detached because they live in a world of academia, where they believe their own hype because they've got bits of paper that tell them they're clever. So they believe it, and they believe to an extent, almost a delusional state, that they are far superior above everybody else. So whatever they say will outwit anyone. But they're only thinking in real time, whereas a clever person is thinking 2 or 3 steps ahead. A clever person is saying, well, if I say this, it's like playing chess, isn't it? You never think about the move you're making. You're thinking about setting up moves, about position on the board. You're thinking about all of that stuff. Incidentally, chess is heavily played in Russia, just saying. It's all about position. And Starmer clearly has no concept of that at all. At all. I mean, Macron has, but he's a slippery surrender monkey, so what do you expect? But he understands, changing direction, going this way, going that way, saying whatever. But, let's face it, everybody knows what he is and who he is. He's Mr. About Turn, isn't he? Says this today, says that tomorrow. You can't listen to anybody like that. You can't trust them. You can't take their word on anything. But at least you know that. But Starmer is purporting to be some kind of, intellectual. And if, to coin a phrase, if brains were made of rubber, he wouldn't have enough brains to make a one-legged budgie a flip-flop. Oh, well, what a day. It's a beautiful day outside. Once again, I've woken up with a smile on my face, which is what I do all the time here in Russia. Pinch myself, think that I'm living my best life. Wonderful country, wonderful people. Wonderful people. And yeah, just watching. It's so nice to be outside of the West looking in and just watching all of the crap that has been said over the last 3 years and going through it all. And in the beginning, literally loads of friends just deleted me. Friends, I'll use that loosely. My friends are on one hand. But beyond that, when you live in the West, you have 1,000 followers on Facebook and whatever, and you think, oh, all these people are your friends. They're not your friends. And I went through all of that pain with, at the time, people just deleting me for no reason. Just because I'd changed my geography and changed who I was. I wasn't running around shouting from the rooftops, Russia, 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 like all of the idiots. I hadn't changed the flag in my bio. So all of these people, and I'm just now, I'm waking up with a smile on my face, but it's a Jeremy Clarkson smug grin, because day after day, week after week, I am feeling vindicated. I knew I was on the right side of history with the decision that I made personally and that we made as a family. I knew I was on the right side of history. And I'm very much somebody that looks into something, makes a decision and stands by it. So even though I had all of the haters, everybody, hating on me and, deleting me, blocking me and shit comments, terrible messages, all of that, I still knew that this was the right decision. I still knew that coming to Russia was the right decision. But what is so lovely now is just seeing day by day more and more truth come out, more and more talking heads going, oh, actually, this is why the war started. It wasn't unprovoked. This is why this happened. This is why that happened. And it's all coming, where it's all been suppressed and it's all been hidden. And it's just so lovely to be able to sit and watch it and sit there with the old Jeremy Clarkson smug grin. Just watching all of this stuff coming out and seeing, I'm wondering how many of my friends or people that I knew are actually going to grow a backbone, are actually going to go, I got this wrong. Because, do you know what? I'll have respect for them if they do that. I absolutely will. If they actually turn around and message me or just publicly say, Christ, we got this wrong. But we're not there yet. But we're going to be. And it's just funny watching how much is going to come out, how much is going to be revealed before they have to go, well, yeah, we were wrong. And some of them won't. Some of them will be quite happy to just look like idiots forever, and that's quite often the British way. When we realise that we're wrong, we sort of put our head down. I wasn't brought up like that. I was taught that if you're wrong, you go, yeah, I was wrong about that. You hold your hand up and, you eat humble pie. But so many Brits will just sort of, hide behind the newspaper. Well, didn't see me, Marjorie. And I just wonder how many of these people are going to try and hold on to that for weeks, months, years. And how many are actually going to just be genuine and not care about, looking good or trying to look good, because they're gradually looking more and more stupid. All of these flag wavers, all these people that had flags in their bio, all these people that put the flag on their building, on their house, on their flagpole. Where are you now? Where are you? I can't see you. So, as I said, my grin is just getting bigger every day. Every single day. Every day Russia gets stronger. Every day the West looks more and more completely incompetent. The leaders look more and more tyrannical. Their true colours are coming out more and more every day. More and more people are seeing it more and more every day. And the more that they see it, the more these lunatics, we can't say double down or triple down. We're way past that. We're way past that. They are now into the, oh my God, they've lost all leave of their senses. Talking about building an EU army to replace the US and carry on. Carry on with what? Carry on killing Ukrainians? Because that's all they've achieved. It's this mentality that cannot walk back and say we got this wrong. And that is why they're in the state that they are, because they cannot ever hold their hands up and go, hey, we just cocked this up. We got this wrong. No. We have to just continue down the path until we're voted out and we disappear into obscurity. You know, Theresa May, where's she now? Don't know, she's probably doing a tour somewhere, speaking garbage to somebody. Who was the next idiot that was in? Don't know, there've been so many. You still got Bojo going yap, yap, yap. But everybody, he's called Bojo, isn't he? Bozo is more accurate. And then what about the other one? 40 days or 41 days. Where's she? Nobody remembers, they're all gone. And that's what their aim is. Their aim is to just charge forward with an agenda, earn as much money as possible, grease the palms, line up some cushy job after, and then get out. But none of these people are doing anything for the country. None of these people are for the country. Starmer ain't. Couldn't give a toss about the UK. Couldn't give a toss, otherwise he wouldn't be pursuing the policies that he is. He's got no interest in the UK or the UK people at all. They're an inconvenience. They're ants to be squashed. The bloke's a jackboot thug. I've always said it. I don't change my mind. In fact, he's literally proving me right every single day. So, yeah, being here, should I be saying all of this? Well, allegedly, we have freedom of speech. We live in a democracy in the UK, allegedly. So we'll find out. But ultimately, I'm saying what everybody else is now coming out and saying and thinking. And it's just comical. Anyhow. Right. Nikolai, Eric in Europe, 500 million. USA, 340 million, Russia, 140 million. Forget about the mighty Europe will be victorious in no time, don't worry. Yeah, true. Please, man, Europeans, Americans, we're brothers. Shouldn't we shoulder each other, pain together? This is how we've been doing this. Oh my God. Americans and Europeans, really? Okay. And you're talking against the Nazis. Who defeated the Nazis? Do some research. Americans are culturally closer to Europeans than they do Russia or China. No. Why all this antagonism against the EU? Because they're morons, Eric. Seriously, Eric, Ursula von der Leyen? They are taking the chips out of the washing machines because they have run out of missiles. That's your idea of somebody that's worth listening to, is it? My God. I agree, a lot of EU leaders are stupid. Well, then why would anybody listen to them or follow them or think that they've got a good idea? Alex, Eric, you need to take a proper look at what the EU turned into in the past 25 years to get the answer to your own question. Yeah, and we're in the acceleration phase now. You know, this is absolute desperation, and desperate people do desperate things. So the gloves are off, you know, the hiding, you know, behind the shadows or in the shadows, that's all gone out the window, isn't it? That's all now. It is just absolute desperation. It is like the Terminator film where, I think it's Terminator 2, where the liquid metal Terminator at the end of the film gets lowered into the melting pot and his head's changing, his arms are coming out in all directions. That's Europe, that's Western leaders now. Trump has, you know, already gone, this is what I'm trying to do, and he's distancing himself from these morons. They're absolutely, like I say, you can't say doubling or tripling down or quadrupling down, we're way past that, but they are over down on stupidity. And really, anybody with a brain is now just wanting to get away from them because you don't want to be tarred with that same brush. So you're going to end up with some talking heads shouting a lot of crap. It's just brilliant. Eric, listen to JD Vance's Munich speech. Sean, these Western leaders act like bullies to other countries like Russia, and when they fight back. Yeah, see, that's absolutely right. That's always been the case. You know, the West is the big, powerful, you know, global leader. Just coming out because it's, you know, it's hot. It's what sauna is. Sorry, lost my train of thought. Yeah, the West is this big, powerful global leader. It's just like a school playground, isn't it? You get one bully in the school generally, don't you? That everybody sort of bows down to. And that's how it goes. Until the kids fight back and they grow up. And that's what's happened. The world has grown up. The world has got sick to death of the bullying. So, yeah, it's not the same. And Trump understands that. He's still got to puff his chest out. You know, it's the way. But he certainly understands that it ain't a case of making threats anymore to every country. You can still threaten the little countries, and that's, you know, that's now the plan. But the big countries are going, yeah, no, we're not putting up with that. And he understands that. Eric, why don't we just fight for freedom together? Together with who, Eric? Much of Europeans realise that this and willing to fight for freedom. What freedom of speech, Eric? What freedom of speech do people have in the UK when they get locked up for Facebook posts? Where's the freedom of speech there? Is that what you think freedom of speech is? You have no idea what freedom is, mate. You need to come to Russia. I'll show you what freedom is, because I live in a free society. My freedom here is without compare so far. I can only speak how I find, but I can drive my car down on the beach without being arrested. I'm driving through the forests, you know, on tracks without being arrested. Drove around a reservoir, and I know it's the same thing, drive. But in the UK, all of these things I'd be arrested for. You know, people say you can't say what you want in Russia. Really? Well, I haven't found that either. What about your news channels? How much news from Russia can you watch in the West? Because I can watch all Western news here in Russia, because it's not all hidden. So you have the opportunity to make your own mind up. Can you do that in the West? Nah. Irvin. Hello, Chris. Spot on, my friend. Thank you, sir. You're a gentleman. It seems Chris watches BBC. Not enough. No, the Biased Broadcasting Corporation. I worked that one out a long time ago, mate. Unfortunately, people still think it's a good idea to pay to be told a one-sided version of a story which is completely false and untrue. I think that's a good idea. Yeah, not me. EU is doomed, should never have happened. Yeah, you know, I believe in sovereignty. I believe that every country should be sovereign. I believe every country should trade with one another, and they should make their own deals, and they should not be tried to be controlled by one central government. One size does not fit all. This liberal, you know, on a scale of 0 to 100, let's operate everything at 50. Don't work. Doesn't work. Never has worked. Britain is a shining example of how that doesn't work. One size does not fit all. People are individuals. No matter how much you pile propaganda onto them, no matter how much you manipulate them and control them, you'll get away with that once, twice, 100 times. But at some point, those people start to wake up. At some point, they start to do their own research. At some point, they start to question what they've been told. And it's nice sitting here in my sauna in southern Russia, watching it happen, watching the awakening, watching people going, oh, Zelenskyy. People are seeing what all of us knew. That's the tip of the iceberg. The tip of the iceberg. But that's enough to get everybody going, oh my God, he's so disrespectful. You have no idea. But it's a start, and it's great. Alex, Eric, I'm in the UK. Fight together doesn't mean someone else fighting on your behalf. Yeah, fight together is shoulder to shoulder. It's shared values. It's about believing in a cause. And making sure you're on the right side of history. It's about doing your research and understanding what you're fighting for. It's not about blindly charging in because somebody went, let's go this way. And ultimately, I don't mean that from a literal sense of a soldier, because that's their job. Their job is to do, politicians' bidding. But it's about the people. It's about them actually doing research and understanding what they're being told, and not just blindly following it. EU's dooms, yeah, okay. Hey, Dad. Whatever. Hey, dude, do you like sandwiches? Yeah, okay, whatever. If that's... Okay. You've got an English guy sitting in southern Russia, 60 miles from Crimea, and you have a golden opportunity to ask me anything, and that's your question. Great. Eric, don't be afraid. Russia's GDP is less than Spain. You have nothing to be worried about. Nikolai, you're absolutely right. I did. Have you seen the percentage of support to Ukraine by GDP? So percentage by GDP. Which countries give the most to Ukraine? Have you seen that? Everybody's going to go, oh, it's the US. No, they're 10th. 10th. Who do you think the top three are? Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia. They're the top three GDP by percentage that give the most as a percentage to Ukraine. Yeah, I see a red flag with a white bit and some black legs that they all run around waving. Trump sucks. Well, not as much as... I'm not a Trump fan. I'm not in the fan camp. But you couldn't write it at the moment, could you? Starmer crawling around Trump was so embarrassing. We don't have a military response. 30,000 troops. We can muster 3 at a push. Trump knows this and is hanging Starmer out to dry. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're about right. All of this. And this is the trouble in Britain. We haven't woken up to it because the media lies to everybody, and we're still led to believe that we're some kind of superpower, and we just ain't. Those days are over. Long time ago. We rely on a reputation, and unfortunately, other things have come along and the reputation's crumbled. So, yeah, your numbers are pretty accurate. And, as you say, Trump knows that. Look at what he said to Starmer. Well, could you fight Russia on your own? What was Starmer's response? Well. What a muppet. We have no freedom of speech. Yeah, I know, mate. I know. Russians have freedom, unlike the UK. You're 100% correct. Yep. I've lived all my life in the UK and coming here, I've never felt so free. I've never felt so unrestricted. I've been stopped by the police 4 times now, being a naughty boy. And every time they've been polite, they've been respectful. I've copped a couple of fines, but they've never been anything other than polite to me. How do you get that in the UK? Nah, it's fug-like, isn't it? It's occasional you'll get a nice copper, but generally, yeah. Zionist is everywhere. With you all the way and see you in Napa around the 27th. Richard, rock on, brother. Zionists control the media. Sandra, who do you use as sources? Very good question, very sensible. So I don't have one specific place that I go. I try and just read as much as possible. I spend, well, I like to say 2 or 3 hours a day. Probably 6. Yeah, probably 5 or 6. I go to bed very, very late. I get up very, very early. And my sources, I don't have one specific source, because I think if you just go to one specific source, all you're going to do is be an echo chamber. You're just going to repeat that's how media works. That's how everybody in the UK is controlled with their thought process, because the narrative and the media give you one version. So that's all you know. You don't get a chance to actually see the real truth, because you're just fed one story and everything is Putin puppet, propagandists, blah, blah, lies, this, lies that. Look at Piers Morgan. I mean, if you ever want to see a delusional individual, look at that idiot. So no, I don't. I go all over the place. I just read, research, as much different stuff as I can. Good, bad, the ugly. I find the Duran, Alex Christoforou, Alexander Mercouris give a very good analysis, not always accurate, and I can say that being here in Russia, some of the things they say are not totally accurate, but on balance, most of what they say is there or thereabouts. I can't wait to see their shows today after Zelenskyy yesterday. It's going to be hilarious. I just try and get my information and try and keep up with, and not just, the current situation with next door, but globally. Economically, I'm very heavily into crypto, so I understand what's happening in the financial system and, the way the world works financially and what's going on, which most people don't. Most people are just going to get run over by it and not understand what's going on. It makes me laugh. I see these people, keep using your cash, you're going to lose it. All gone, 10 years too late. So stuff like that, I just read a lot, because I'm in such a fortunate position now that I have that opportunity. I have we say in the UK, a life of Riley. Sean, don't sandwiches have something to do with Crimean War? Probably. Eric, do you think Russia will push to take Odessa? I think they should, but the port is vital. What are your thoughts? I think are you talking to Eric or are you talking to me, mate? I'm Chris. If you're talking to me, Odessa, a lot of Russians want Odessa. Not because they want Odessa, but because they understand that if they don't take Odessa, then it's leaving next door wide open for a naval port. That was why the British are so wound up about Crimea, because there was an agreement in place to build a lot of ships and have naval port and everything, which is what they were banking on. And a lot of Russians certainly believe that Odessa should come home. It's hard to see how, it can't stay how it is, in the fact that Odessa is just free and clear and Ukraine can come in and out of Odessa as they see fit, and so can the West. That ain't going to happen. But how far it goes, Russia has got no interest in taking control of all Ukraine. It's the last thing they want to do. What on earth do they want to take control of a load of Nazis that hate them? Why? Leave them alone over in the West. Let them get on with it. Let them run around smacking each other over the head. If that's what they want to do, yeah, beat yourself to death. You go and march funny and do the Society of Funny Walks. Russia has got no interest in that. They don't want to do it. And this is why I laugh at all this EU nonsense about, if we don't fight them in Ukraine, we'll be fighting them in our border. We'll be fighting them in our territory. You won't, because Russia's got no interest. Russia it's in a defensive posture. It's not attacking, it's defending. And that's what people don't get. They don't understand the timeline. They don't understand, that it's just Russia invaded. Okay. But if you're in a boxing match, what's the goal? To get the first punch in, isn't it? To stop your opponent attacking you. There you go. That's what that was about. But after immense provocation, 15,000 Russians killed before Russia finally went, enough's enough. And trust me, most Russians were screaming, this has to happen, this has to happen. The West should be very, very thankful that they got Vladimir Putin to deal with, because a lot of other leaders would have just gone, boom. Yes, the nasties, Lauren. Calling me a nasty? You have no clue. Turkey, second biggest army in NATO. Yep. Said they will help Ukraine. Oh, right. But why not the Americans? This is so heartbreaking, honestly. How come we've come so far? Oh, Eric, you're going to have to cope harder, my friend. So Turkey will say, Erdogan will say one thing today and a different thing tomorrow. He sits on the fence with one leg in one garden and one leg in the other. So, yeah. Do you think Russia better than the UK? Max? Yes. For me, as a normal person, without diving into the deep politics, I'm just talking about, I'm just like most people. All we want to do is live our life in peace. We just want to be able to get up in the morning, enjoy good weather, enjoy good food with good friends and family. We want to live in an environment that's not oppressive. We want to have freedom. And that's all most people want from life. I'm not no interest in being a millionaire and, having a big yacht bobbing around in the harbour. I've got no interest in that. It's just crap. That's just, look at me, look how big my chest is. Do you think those people are really, truly happy inside? I don't know. I'm sure some people would say, oh yeah, but I'm not interested in that. I'm like most people, we just want to have a life and we just want to enjoy it. So for me, yes, simple answer, Max, is yes, I do think Russia is better than the UK. Better food, without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, hands down, no question. No GMO in Russia, it's banned, it's illegal. So no genetically modified rubbish. So the quality of the food here is exceptional. We have funny shaped bananas, funny shaped potatoes, funny shaped carrots, all of that kind of stuff. Because they grow in the fields and then they're dug up out the fields and then they're sold in the farm markets every day. So we have fresh fruit and veg. We have fresh bread because there are multiple bakeries, multiple butchers. In the UK, there was kind of a bit of a resurgence with butchers reopening. But pretty much they all got wiped out by the big superstores, didn't they? So all of your food and everything was controlled and it was all made to look pretty, injected with God knows what. But out here, it is like the UK used to be. You've got hardware stores everywhere, because Russians repair everything. I've said this many times. Russians are the greatest recyclers. They repair everything. So you don't throw anything away just because it stopped working. You just go and buy a part for it. We can't do that in the UK. We just go and buy a new one. That's our mentality. But, they're the best recyclers. The quality of the food is outstanding, absolutely outstanding. Yes, there are certain things that I miss from UK, like instant gravy granules. It's a load of chemicals, isn't it? Marmite, I miss. What else? Oh, HP brown sauce. So silly things like this. But really for one use, I like Marmite on toast in the morning. I like HP brown sauce on my bacon. Yeah, I like gravy granules just for that really strong beefy sort of flavour to make shepherd's pie. But gradually, since I've been here, I've found alternatives and substitutes. But yes, I do think Russia for me is better. The cost of living, the lifestyle, you know, I'm living in a house with a swimming pool and a sauna. I couldn't do that in the UK. I had no chance of that. I'm retired now. In the UK, I'll be working till I died. No question. No question. So the lifestyle that I can have here is far superior to the lifestyle I would have had in the UK. The people are nicer. Crime, I have to say, is, again, this may be controversial, but I have to speak from my own perspective and my own understanding. Crime, for me, is zero. None. Nothing. I have not seen crime. I have not heard of crime in any way, shape or form where I am here in Russia. I can't speak for the whole country. I'm not going to even try to. I'm just going to say, from my perspective, I haven't seen, I say this every time, and people just laugh and think that I'm lying. Fill your boots. Think what you think. I know the life that I live. I park my car in the town, I don't lock it. I don't need to lock it. I can leave my phone in the phone holder on the dashboard. It will still be there when I come back. If you go to a restaurant, you don't have to take your wallet and your keys and your phone and your coat when you go to the toilet. You just leave it on the table and it's there when you come back. It's a completely different mentality. Russians do so much on trust, and that is why this has all happened, because there was a belief that they could trust the West, that, you know, they wouldn't be barefaced lied to, and, you know, they'll eventually, you know, we can believe them, we can trust them, we can trust them, we can trust them. But now Russia has worked that out, that isn't the case. But Russians do a lot on trust. They trust people. A lot is done on trust. You know, we can go to, and we have done, we've gone to the market, we've bought food, we've gone to pay for it and not had internet connection. And, you know, the stallholder has never seen us before, doesn't know us from Adam, and just says, "I'll send us the money later." Can you do that in the UK? You know, everything here is done on trust. They do back it up. You know, if you go to, like, for a proper business, if you want to buy a house, they'll back it up with paperwork, and they do love a bit of paperwork as well. You know, the bureaucracy sometimes can be quite overwhelming. But Russian people trust. You know, that's their culture, that's their nature. And they don't worry about rubbish. They don't worry about the little stuff that we get wound up about in the UK. So consequently, road rage, I haven't seen it, not once, since I've been here. In the UK, I saw it every day. Every single day, without exception, every day. On my drive to work, or home from work, or at the weekend, I would see some kind of incident of road rage. I don't know, was that your experience in the UK? Was mine. Since I've been here, nothing. Haven't seen a punch up, haven't seen a fight, nothing. So it's difficult to say that Russia isn't better than the UK. Eric, I don't think they should do it. It's against the international law, and international community reacts strongly to this. We've seen this in the UN resolution last week. Okay, international law. Is that something you really want to talk about from a Western perspective or from a US perspective? Really? Yeah. England is losing its English. I'm proud to be an American. Nothing wrong with being proud to be who you are, as long as what you're being proud of is worth being proud of. You know, I don't subscribe to this whole nationalistic, you know, you should be proud of being an Englishman or an American or a Russian or whatever, just because. Or just because that's where you were born, just because of your geography. No, you should be proud of the country if the country is worthy. If it's a good country, if the culture is good, if the people are good, if the philosophy and their morals and their values are good, then that's something to be proud of. But if it's a fighting scumbag and all it wants to do is war, all it wants to do is rape and pillage, is that something to be proud of? No. Luckily for us, Brits and Americans and whoever else that want to come to Russia, Russians, on the whole, understand that the evil that men do, i.e. our governments, is not necessarily representative of the people. So, you know, I'm asked this question a lot, am I safe? I've been humbled many, many times here in Russia by the warmth and, I'm going to say love, it's a bit strong, but the warmth that I have experienced from Russians. How they have treated me has just been very humbling, and it has brought me to tears a couple of times. Just because coming here, I expect to be treated as the enemy, because, you know, that's how everything is in the West. Oh, we must hate. That's why you all put your flags out in your garden. Oh, we got to hate Russia. We got to stand with Ukraine. But coming here, Russians aren't wired like that. They understand that a government may behave badly. It doesn't mean you are. You know, ultimately, the attitude is, why should I hate you? What have you done to me? Yeah, and that's the way the world should be. And that's why Russians have every right to be proud of being Russian and being proud of Russia, because that's their mentality, and that's something to be proud of. To be able to separate yourself from political nonsense and just be proud of who you are as a person and your friends and your family and your culture. Yeah. Russia has no king and queen, so UK's better. I think all country are lies. Yeah, I mean, that's the game of politics, I suppose, isn't it? King Trump. Max, bro, buy gold, it's better. No, it's not. It's a good hedge, but it's certainly not better. It hasn't outperformed crypto in the last 12 months in any way, shape or form. Yeah, so no, it's not. From a financial perspective, it's a good, safe, long-term bet. If you want to stick your money in gold for a 5 or a 10-year period, yeah, you'll be all right against inflation. But you've got to remember all the stories about, oh, it's going to be the new financial currency, it's going to rule the world, it's God's money, it's always been God's money, it'll always be around, but it's an artificially manipulated market, like most financial markets. So nobody should put all of their money into one thing. You should diversify and you should do some research. Silver, I would argue, at the moment is a better hedge than gold. It's just a ball ache to store it, that's all. Bitcoin crashed. Yeah, artificially manipulated market. I've done a video on Bitcoin and XRP. Bitcoin maxis just only see Bitcoin. There is nothing else. It's only Bitcoin. And people have no understanding just how fragile Bitcoin is. It is sitting on a piece of glass. My video is titled, I think, Bitcoin or XRP, one man's speech away from zero. All Trump has to do is declare that he is not going to use Bitcoin in the strategic reserve in the US because too much of it is held by China, which is true. The price will crash. At the same time, he puts XRP into the strategic reserve because it's a US-based company, and Bitcoin crashes. And then, you know, ultimately, Trump knows who's behind Bitcoin. Ultimately, he comes out and says Bitcoin was created by the US government, and it goes to zero. So, Bitcoin ain't it. It's never been it. Never been it. It's all a distraction. Look over here while we get on with proper stuff over here. Paul Wright, Chris, my apologies. I'm new here. Who is Eric? I've no idea. He's just some guy just talking a lot of nonsense, really. I'll probably boot him out soon. Scott, international law is another exposed myth at this point. Yep. To a degree, yeah. I mean, a law is only any good if people abide by it and they all accept it and agree it. But when people run away from it, it becomes kind of invalid, doesn't it? No one know Ukraine a Nazi. Oh, yeah. Well, I certainly didn't. You know, up until probably 3 or 4 years ago, Nazis all died in the Second World War, didn't they? They're all over. That game's all gone, isn't it? And then, I had my eyes open. You know, Latvia hold a Nazi march, twice a year through the centre of Riga, is it? Have a Nazi march celebrating Nazis. Did you know that? Latvia. Tip of the iceberg. Yeah, I mean, you know, I've seen so much. I've seen so much stuff that I wish I hadn't seen. The pure evil that's happening in that country. You're right. It is. Unfortunately, 7% of the population is that, and they rule through fear and intimidation. And I do hope that genuine Ukrainians can get away from that. I do hope that they realise the evil that is. I do agree Odessa should be Russian. Odessa's always been Russian. It just happens to be wrapped up in all of this at the moment. Paul, I'm Trump supporter from Germany. Oh, Eric. Yeah, you need to relocate, mate. But I don't agree their stance on Ukraine. Don't get me wrong, it's EU's fault, but we need Americans' role to help us. To help you do what, Eric? How dumb can you be? You are in Germany and you're a Trump supporter. America has decimated Germany. Decimated it. Absolutely destroyed it. And you are asking for American help. You've got Merz now, who, well, good luck. That's all I can say. If you live in Germany, I wish you all the luck in the world. I hope God is with you, because nobody else is going to be. Absolute insanity. You really do need to open your eyes, mate. Eric, I think Germans are screwed. You should move away. The government is damaged. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Alex, hello, Chris. A word of caution. You need to learn to lock your car to avoid disappointment. Even in Russia. Sorry for pissing on your fire. I've just got to say how I find it, Alex. I'm not speaking for all of Russia. How can I? You know, largest country in the world. I haven't seen it. 156 million people. I haven't met them all. So I can't speak for it. I can only speak from my experience. And my experience has been nothing but positive. And, you know, some people say, oh, these YouTubers that give a positive opinion, they're propagandists, they're puppets, they're paid by the FSB, they're this, they're that. Whatever. I'm just saying what I see and how I see it. And how it's been for me. You know, somebody asked me what's negative, you know, what's inconvenient last night in a live stream. You know, what do I find inconvenient here? I couldn't answer them, because for me, nothing. Back in the sauna? Yeah. Oh, yes. Right, goggles back on. Nikolai and Chris lives in the south, the most hot-tempered region. Just imagine how calm it is in the north or in Siberia, the most calm region. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I do live in the south. I live just outside a town called Anapa, A-N-A-P-A on Google Maps. You'll see where I am, just along the coast from Crimea. Live in a beautiful region. Blue skies, bit of snow at the moment. But that's all melting and be gone in a couple of days. And I think in about 10 days' time, we're into, you know, late teens in the temperature. So looking forward to spring/summer. But yeah, I can only speak how I find. And that's all I'll ever do. I'm not going to tell you that something's wonderful if I haven't got that experience or whatever. I always think it's best to make your own mind up, which is why I do my own independent research, not turn on the TV and listen to what's pumped out of that, good, bad or indifferent. Because the minute something is given to you, it's controlled and it's contrived. If you go and look for it, you have the choice. If you turn on the TV, your illusion of choice is exactly that. Your choice is limited to how many channels are displaying what you want to watch at that time. Whereas if you go and do your own independent research, your choice is unlimited. Unlimited, if you live in a free society, of course. America is Zionist control. Andre, nice to see you. Hi, Chris. No. To see a good road fight, you have to go to the big city. I have so few in St. Petersburg. One ended fast with classy overhand from the right. I'm sure, but I can only say, you know, like I say, I can't speak for all of Russia or all the Russians. Completely incorrect of me. I can only ever speak from my experience. My experience is I haven't seen it. I just haven't seen it since I've been here. And it's not like I've been here a week. I've been here, you know, first came here in October 21 and started building the house. So I've been here a while. Britain can become the great empire again. Eric, I'm sorry, you literally have got to go because you're so far bent out of shape. There's no saving you. You've got to go. Bye. By the way, Eric, India will not let the UK rob them. No, India. Modi is a statesman, isn't he? Very, very, very clever guy. Very clever man. Yeah. Eric's he's too far gone, isn't he? He's just got wool in between his ears. Mickey Mouse, Germans don't have the best track record for voting. No, the German political system is it's just carnage. You know, it's got a right idea, but the way it's implemented, and unfortunately the corruption involved, you know, where they all club together, you know, the Germans can vote the way they want to vote, but then the other parties club together to, you know, unless you get a massive overall majority, it's just, you know, and that's what's exactly happened now. The German government has been replaced by the previous German government, effectively. Apart from Merz, he's probably 10 times worse than Schultz. So good luck, Germans. I wish you all the luck in the world. You'll need it. Mickey Mouse. So Trump is right up their alley. Eric the Great in Britain has gone unless reform get in power and put England and English people and values first. Yep, I agree. That's the thing that English elites cling to is the fact that they were once a great nation and, you know, a world power. It's just not anymore. There's a lot of great things about England, you know, the financial system and all, you know, there's so many things that you can look at and think, okay, you know, the countryside, the states, lots of things. But this idea that they are still Britannia rules the waves. No, it don't. And people need to wake up, you know, from that belief. They need to understand that ain't the case. They're only as great as the people behind them. And by that, I mean the US. Without the US behind them, they're a small island with, you know, a 70,000 armed forces, 70,000 people. Yeah. Alex, go Nigel, voted for him at every single election since 2010. Yeah, I mean, I think my only concern with reform is whether they could actually run the country. They could certainly run constituencies, but could they run them all? You know, a good leader is only as strong as the people around him that are in his team. And you can have a fantastic leader and just below him a load of muppets. It's never going to get anywhere. And I'm just not convinced that reform have the depth to run the country. I absolutely believe that they can run certain constituencies. Absolutely they can. But I don't think they've got the depth in the field to run the entire country. Just my opinion. UK needs to show some love to Canada. Well, Canada needs to drastically reform, doesn't it? You know, what use is Canada at the moment in the real world? Sorry, Canadians, it's not directed at you, but your government's shit. UK is losing cost. Okay. William Smith, good afternoon, Chris. Hope you are all well. Well, I'm sat in my sauna, mate. Loving life. And, yeah, Had a bit of flu, we all have. But yeah, all good, mate. All good, loving it. Loving the blue skies, looking forward to the high teens in about 10 days with temperature. Yeah, got a few things lined up, you know, a few trips away. So, yeah, loving it. Max, you are a very smart man. Wow. Thank you, Max. I mean, wouldn't necessarily agree with that. I'm just logical. I wouldn't say that I'm smart. I'm logical. I understand common sense and I think things through logically. Cullen Cagle, can you shout me up, please? Just did. Nikolai. So just so you know, I read every comment. If I don't read your comment, it's because YouTube has hidden it, or you've been a muppet previously on my channel and you're blocked. But I think genuinely you wouldn't even see my channel. So if I don't read your comment, it's because YouTube has blocked it. So don't put any phone numbers or any links in your comment because they just get blocked straight away. So yeah, if I don't read your comment, it's because I haven't seen it. I read every comment. Nikolai, was Brexit a fatal error? No, it was... Brexit was a wonderful idea, but it was executed with Neolithic incompetence. As I say, I believe in sovereignty for every country. Every country should be sovereign. They should have their own currency. They should have control of their own borders. They should be able to make their own laws. And they should be able to freely trade and make deals with whoever they want. That's what I believe. Laughing my arse off. Yup. Max T, Canada is better from America. Are you in a sauna? Cindy? Yeah, sorry. We've got a sauna. Can't use the swimming pool at the moment because it's about 4 degrees and we haven't heated it. I was going to. We've run all the pipes to put a heater to the swimming pool, but never got round to it. But it's currently 4 degrees. And hence, you know, like I say, we've got snow on the ground at the moment. So, yeah. So I'm currently sitting in here. This is our sauna. And this is our shower room. Let's put the lights on. There we go. So this is our shower room and spa shower. Cold plunge. So yeah, water in there is pretty cold. Stand under that, give it a tug, and see how long you can bear it. Not long. So yeah, so this is our little bit of oasis, if you like. So yeah, I'm sure some people are grizzled because there's a English man with his shirt off. Oh well. Do marriage easy in Russia? Max, I'm not really sure what you're asking there, mate. So sorry. I know English is not your first language. Do marriage easy in Russia? I don't know what you're trying to ask me there. If you can rephrase that, that would be cool. Sovereignty is a difficult question. What about Scotland? Ask Scottish people. What right does anybody have to impose their will on someone else? I think that's a good philosophy to live life by. What right do you have to impose your will on someone else? Even your own children, you shouldn't impose your will on them. You should educate them. You should point out right and wrong, good and bad. Sometimes you have to be stern. Sometimes, if your kids don't hate you at some point, then you've failed as a parent. Because if your kids just permanently love you, never have anything bad to say about you, and never upset with you, then all you've done is said yes to everything they ever want. And that is not being a parent, that is a failed parent. So, you know, even at that level, your kids should hate you at some point. At some point, you have to, I suppose you could say, impose your will. But it is in the interest of teaching those young adults right from wrong, bringing them up with good morals. So, aside from that, what right should one person have over another to impose their will? So for me, the question about Scotland is it's up to the Scottish. if Scottish people want to be Scottish, shouldn't they be allowed to be? You know, but again, it's another nail in the coffin of the British Empire that they just cannot allow. And the more that the empire crumbles, not just the British Empire, but the US, all of these, you know, all of these bullies around the world, the more that their house starts to crumble, the worse it gets. So it always gets better, worse before it gets better. Yeah, so there we go. Caught up with the questions, which is kind of cool. If you do have any questions, if you think, well, I'd like to know X about Russia, or I'd like to know, like to see some more, check out my channel, have a look at some of the videos. I've got a Telegram group, so please feel free to join that. You can ask me questions and I'll reply to you. You can have a conversation by phone if you want. Video, text message. Please don't send me an email with 25 questions, because I'll just reply to it with join my Telegram group so that I can do a voicemail. I'm a terrible typist, hate typing. So yeah, if you want to find out about Russia, if you've got some interest, if you've got some concerns, if you've seen something in the news and you want to know whether it's true or not, I may or may not know, but I can certainly give you a perspective from being this side. So yeah, join the Telegram group. Please like, share and subscribe. Please hit the thumbs up if you can, that would be great. Unfortunately, anybody creating content in Russia struggles with YouTube, with the algorithm. We don't get our channels promoted, so the only time people see my channel is if people like you share it. Otherwise, it just doesn't pop up. If you do subscribe, please check your notifications. Probably once a month they'll just flick off of all to personalised, and then you won't see anything. So that's a common thing that happens a lot, all part of the shadow banning. So yeah, thanks for joining, thanks for having time to drop in, listen to me waffle. This week has been amazing. Watching this house of cards collapse, and it's interesting to see what's coming for the next week. I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, like I say, thanks for watching, thanks for joining me, listening to me parroting on. You may agree with me, you may not. That's your choice. You're absolutely entitled to it. So yeah, as I say at this point, see you in the next one.